what's up, guys? Late Night Cast Mac here. We all know sports is what have you done for me lately? And watching the Oklahoma City Thunder hoist their first championship and watching the painful end for the Indiana Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton with the brutal injury just kind of puts everything into focus when it comes to the Atlanta Braves and the realities. Let's go through it. 7 straight postseason appearances, even though last year we were one leg and arm tied behind our back. We know that. And we thought it was a one-off. But, maybe everything went super right in 2023 that the baseball gods and sports gods kind of had to smack the reality back and say that the journey is never linear. The journey is never easy. And 2024, like I've said, I thought that 2024 was going to be the hardest recapping year of my 6-year run with Braves Anatomy. But then 2025 comes along and says, hold my beer. And the realities are pretty stark and pretty clear that you got, five spots in your lineup that you don't feel the warm and fuzzies that something positive is going to happen. Not to say that it's not going to, but do you feel it? Because you got Ozzy struggling, career worst, everything, Michael Harris struggling, everything, defense, except defense. The cobbled together left field because of the Jurickson Profar suspension, and then Sean Murphy struggling, but great defense. Nick Allen, great defense, but not much of a bat. I mean, that's 5 of 9 positions that you really don't feel like that something positive is going to happen offensively. And then you got the freak injury of Chris Sale diving off the mound for the Juan Soto thing. It sucks, but Chris Sale wasn't going to be denied, and nobody's going to tell that man no. Like, honestly, and as much as we've struggled for wins, he earned that, and it was such a phenomenal play, but the way the last 2 years have gone, it's pretty Atlanta Braves-ish. Pitching is never going to be perfect. Offense is never going to be perfect. Because baseball is one of the hardest sports, if not the hardest sport, to have consistency and be mentally there. And when you're struggling as much as Michael Harris is at the plate, or Ozzy Albies is, with the back of the baseball cards these guys have already mustered, I don't know how they're doing it every single day. And I have tried to be as respectful in my ranty frustration, struggles, all of that I'm not the one battling it every day. And Brian Snicker, this, that, and the other. Tim Hires, should we have gotten rid of Kevin Seitzer? Obviously, that answer is looking like no right now, but I mean, trying to make sense of why there are 5 black holes in our lineup right now is an unanswerable question, and AA said last week that we weren't going to sell. We weren't going to trade Chris Sale and that's still the case right now. But I think you got to make the decisions of, does Michael Harris need to go down? I've been adamantly against it, but if you've got nothing offensively, and he just seems completely mentally drained and mentally lost at the plate, maybe you entertain that. Carlos D. Rodriguez has got a 307 average, done really good things at the plate at Gwinnett. And Verdugo, I don't know, he just fell off a complete cliff of just a lot of bad outfield plays, non-competitive at-bats, really uninspired, I will say. For Ozzy, it feels like the wrist is still not right for me. I don't know if that's the case, because he did have a 24-game on-base streak relatively recently, but it just, again, doesn't have the feel. None of it has the feel. But like I said, obviously Marcell Ozuna has been playing with a bad hip, and 200 in the last 3 or 4 weeks. That's not good either. But it's basically been Acuna, Olsen, and bust. And Baldwin. Acuna, Olsen, and Baldwin have been the most consistent. That is 3 out of 9. That is not a winning formula. And obviously, everybody's to blame. Obviously, mostly the players, because you got to go out there and do it. The ownership, even though I've stood by the fact that he did try to add, and the Jurickson Profar thing is just a mistake that I think it's clouded the entire season, as it were. But I think there's got to be a tough conversation. There's got to be tough conversations. There was a tough conversation with Matt Tuiasosopo switching to Freddie Gonzalez, and the base running has been, and the sins and all that has been cleaned up nicely. But I think Nacho Alvarez has been solid at Gwinnett since coming off his hand injury. I know Nick Allen's been a defensive wizard, but is it time to maybe give Nacho a chance again, and then just replace with Nick Allen? Because at least you're still getting solid-ish at-bats from Nick Allen too, in spurts with walks and things of that nature, and that could upgrade Luke Williams. The positional and roster versatility isn't really there. Because if you wanted to give Ozzy a day off, I mean, the only thing that makes sense for the day off thing is to maybe give Eli White a chance in center field. He was solid there when Michael was out with the hamstring. But nobody's Michael Harris in center field. It's just, I think tough conversations need to be had. 35-41. There's still time in the season, but it doesn't feel like it with multiple 7-game losing streaks and some of the losses that we've had, and the lethargicness of the offense outside of Acuna and Olsen right now. I mean, I don't know that there's much more to say other than there needs to be a shakeup. And I don't think it's Snitker right now. I don't think you do that, because the only reason that Freddie Gonzalez agreed to be the third base coach was for Snitker. And if you just take away Snitker, Bryce Elder should not have pitched in the sixth today, but you got to get more than 3 runs. I mean, except for the Colorado game and the Arizona game that we blew, I don't know any other game that the offense has picked up the pitching. And the pitching has been phenomenal for the most part throughout this entire season. I mean, there's been some clunkers in there. There always is. But we've been able to win games 7-6, 9-5, 9-6, 8-7, things of that nature. And there's been none of that especially this year, but the last 2 years. So I feel like it's almost like the baseball gods are saying you used all your glorious magic 18-23, and now we're going to give you the real taste of what baseball is. And it's a annoying place. Obviously, only one team is going to be happy at the end of this year. So there is that. But I've been used to consistent Atlanta Braves baseball, and I want to get back to that because it's just a lot funner when we're really, really good. And yes, have I benefited from being mad and being frustrated? Yeah, because we all have, and everybody's sharing my frustrations. But I'd rather just be really happy and forgetting to breathe and saying all these comebacks and things of that nature, and it's not. And I'm not the one, like, that's the problem. Like, the human element to this, that's why everybody yelling and everybody, I understand that. I'm doing that too, but the players, the coaches, everybody feels 1,000% worse than we do. So trying to balance that for what I do as a content creator and for what I do as just simply a fan is really hard because the Atlanta Braves, I live and die with them. I live and die with sports. The Braves are an escape for me from lifing, from since I could remember, and that is not going to change. But I think the tough conversations and the tough egos of it all need to start happening because for the last 2 years, but last year was mainly because of injuries, but this year everything just feels off, and something will change. I think David Ross might be a good get for next year, managerial wise. I've always said it would be Walt Weiss, but I don't know. But here's this. You have 5 blank spots in your lineup. If that doesn't change, it doesn't matter who's on the hill. Doesn't matter about anything else. Your all-stars got to be all-stars. Riley, Ozuna, Murphy. They just do. Ozzy. And they're not. And that is what it is. But it is as always, go Braves, champions forever. And yes, are we spoiled? For sure. But you should never lose that winning mentality and wanting to win. So that's why I came here to say all that. Because yelling about it, it makes us feel better. But I don't think it's going to fix the realities of this team right now. But as always, go Braves, champions forever. Hit that like button. hit that subscribe button. Helps out a lot. Thanks, guys. And I'll be here for the rest of the time and for as long as I possibly can do this. But I hope we get back to our consistent winning ways soon.